Kenyans are called upon to be patriotic and guard against COVID-19 at a civic and patriotic holidays launch by Minister Mununa Futso. Also tonight, a new road linking Bachenga and Tui and a bridge over the Sanaga River are launched in the presence of state dignitaries and happy users. And Arts and Culture Minister Bidunkwat honors Jalil Amadou Amal, winner of Kugnout Prize. Thanks for watching the 7:30 News on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
The 5th edition of a special caravan dubbed End of Year Civic and Patriotic Holidays Without COVID-19 has been launched in Bankomo in the central region of Cameroon. For 2 weeks, community mediators will be distributing messages encouraging good citizenship practices. The caravan received its go-ahead rights from Youth Affairs and Civic Education Minister Mununa Futso. We have details with Baldwin Sama.
They raised their hands as a sign to stop the spread of the coronavirus as officials of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education and some youths officially kickstart a 2 weeks end-of-year civic and patriotic holidays without COVID-19.
This year, as you know, the celebration will be facing the context of COVID-19. That's why we thought that beside the sensitization on civil behaviors, we should emphasize the sensitization on the fight against COVID-19.
The official launch was marked by an oath taken by traditional ruler of Bankomo for anti-COVID-19 barrier measures to be respected, with community mediators to disseminate slogans and civic messages, flyers and pamphlets illustrating the consequences of social deviances for the next 2 weeks.
Non-vigilance and non-respect of some barrier measures dictated by the government. So we should come again to intensify the campaign to fight against COVID-19.
As Youth Affairs and Civic Education Minister officially launched the campaign, mass awareness caravans will be deployed to different communities until January 5, 2021.
Primary school pupils in Bankomo in the central region have been drilled on how to prevent, treat and manage cholera. The ceremony marking the start of a nationwide anti-cholera campaign was launched by the Secretary General in the Ministry of Basic Education, Adams Daniel Oyono. Details with Gilbert Ongene.
Teach the children the path to tread on at their tender age so that when they grow up, they do not depart from it. This is the guiding principle that keeps officials of the Ministry of Basic Education always on the alert to instill in pupils notions on cleanliness, which would help them bar the way to cholera and other infectious diseases.
It is a policy in our ministry that we go into all our schools in Cameroon, one way or the other, to sensitize the teachers, the stakeholders, and the pupils themselves on the role that they have to play in preventing diseases in school.
The presiding Secretary General in the Ministry of Basic Education revealed that cholera accounts for the third cause of child mortality in Sub-Saharan Africa, a trend that must be reversed as the dry season takes food with its inherent diseases like cholera. Every member of the education community ought to be on the qui-vive to prevent the outbreak of the disease that could fast become an epidemic, especially in crowded spaces like schools.
Cameroon and France are discussing ways of reducing financial burdens caused by the spread of COVID-19. Finance Minister Louis-Paul Motaze and the French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guilou, signed conventions to ease the burdens. We have details with Luma Slim Davis.
The convention signed between Cameroon and France aims at easing the financial burden on Cameroon caused by the coronavirus pandemic that has slowed national growth from 4.1% to 2.1%. While the presidential ordinance on budgetary plan for 2020 is reduced by 11%, state financial needs have risen by 1,304.5 billion to 1,816 billion CFA francs. Presently, partners of the Paris Club have reconciled pertinent issues to this regard.
Farmers say rice cultivation has dropped significantly in the plain of the northwest region as a result of the socio-political crisis. Authorities are assuring farmers of protection. Kilo Valerin Sala reports from Bamenda.
4 months after a routine rice seed nursing, the Ndop rice production chain enters a decisive harvesting phase.
The farm that harvested 30 bags of rice last year, I am unable to harvest 14 bags. When you get out and you are going to the farm and there is a gunshot, normally you go back.
It stretches across an approximate 3,500 hectares of land, but that's largely insufficient for a swampy area with over 15,000 hectares of land favorable for rice cultivation. Rice processing, a process that involves many local farmers, is limited by aging infrastructure.
He's 39 years old. At that time, the capacity was 3.5 tons of paddy per hour. But now, given the age of the machine, the capacity has dropped to about between 2.5 and 3.
Focus is now tilted towards revamping the local rice production to limit massive rice importation into the country.
We are targeting to have maybe 50,000 tons within the next 2 years.
Improved personnel numbers is also perceived as critical for only 20 farmers sustain activities in this rice farm in the Ndop plain.
The African, Caribbean and Pacific Countries Group has pledged to harmonize development targets to match with national priorities. The commitment was taken at the 11th session of the Council of Ministers that held virtually. Charles Ebuni reports that Cameroon was represented by the Minister of the Economy, Alamin Usman May.
The 111th session of the Council of Ministers of the African, Caribbean and Pacific Countries Group was a platform to harmonize takes for the post-Cotonou Agreement era.
We wanted to make sure that there is a new audit committee as well as a budget committee in the finance regime. These key areas which are critical for us in terms of reforms.
The meeting, which was the first to be held virtually because of the coronavirus pandemic, also worked out how the group's development agenda fit with national development priorities.
The National Development Strategy 30 of Cameroon, which is the continuation of the first phase of our vision 2035 to become an emerging country by 2035.
Cameroon intends to bank on financial resources from the network to construct infrastructure which impacts the people positively.
Right now, we already have some of the support geared towards the construction, for instance, of the bridge on the Logon River between Bongo, Chad and Cameroon, Yagua.
The Plus 80 Countries Association, amongst other things, is tasked to ensure the sustainable development of member states.
Let's now move to the far north region, where the Ministry of External Relations has been raising awareness in that part of the country on the dangers of illicit proliferation of arms and light weapons. The initiative is dubbed Silencing the Guns. Ayuk John Ashu reports from Marwa.
The advent of the Boko Haram insurgency, characterized by armed attacks since 2014, has led to the illegal proliferation of firearms and munitions in the far north region.
Boko Haram, which have caused a lot of damages, killing people, destruction of schools and other properties.
With the creation of the National Commission on Disarmament, Demobilization and Reinsertion, some associates of the terrorist sect have been voluntarily laying down their weapons and decamping. The workshop organized by the Ministry of External Relations to edify opinion leaders and the civil society on their road to stop the illicit possession and abusive use of small arms and light weapons has therefore been welcomed by stakeholders and authorities as a decisive step towards scaling down recurrent attacks by armed groups.
To spread a message of peace, a message of handing over, voluntary handing over of illegal weapons and ammunition.
The UN African Union initiative targets 3 countries in Africa, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire and Ethiopia, where armed conflicts are stifling government development endeavors.
The internet site group Jwanda & Co. has celebrated its 10th anniversary with the launch of the first ever Cameroon Open Business Partnership with the African Business Solutions. Jwanda & Co. founder and director Celine Victoria Fotso narrated her success story in the presence of CRTV's Director General Chandungu. Ewane Pule has the rest of that story.
The years 2010 to 2020 have been a successful period for this digital guru, Celine Victoria Fosso, in her professional career as a designer, actress, trendsetter, and architect. Celebrating the 10th anniversary of her internet site, dubbed Jwanda & Co., the business coaching specialist Celine Victoria Fotso traced her success story from when she created a simple Facebook page that went viral.
We had to partner with the ABS for the Cameroon Open Biz to create synergies and to show that you don't succeed alone.
The creativity of Celine Victoria Fotso, founder and director of Jwanda internet site, among others, have been lauded by renowned personalities in society.
What Celine Victoria says is that there are many bad things going around us, but are also very positive things. And those positive things, we should not hide them. You should put them into light and why not promote them.
The testing of some made in Cameroon products and the cutting of the anniversary cake marked the commemorative ceremony. Celine Victoria Fotso va de l'avant.
MTN Cameroon has opened a brand new store at the Dwala Grand Mall with the aim to strengthen proximity to serve the population, especially those whose shops are in the Grand Mall. The store was inaugurated Tuesday, December 15 by the governor of the Littoral Region, Dieudonné Ivaha Dibois. Cynthia Etim reports from Dwala.
Bringing its services closer to the population, MTN Cameroon opens a new store at the Dwala Grand Mall. Besides proposing solutions to meet the communication needs of the population, MTN, one of the leading mobile telephone operators in Cameroon, through the creation of this store, seeks to offer new experiences, quality and accessible services to its customers.
It's part of MTN's commitment to the development of the country. In Cameroon, if we're going to develop and grow, we have to all commit. So MTN's committed to being here, one of the first stores to open here, and it shows our commitment to the country. It also shows our commitment to growing the economy because it creates employment, it has another opportunity to service our customers.
Described as the finest and most modern agency, the MTN store in the Dwala Grand Mall sits on an area of 100 meters square. Inaugurating the store, the governor of the Littoral Region appraised the management of MTN for the move to render better communication services to the population.
MTN came to this space to give strength, to give a new color. You are in need of connection. You just have to stop here and to have the service needed. We can just say that we are proud to welcome all those equipment here in Dwala. And as far as Chan is concerned, the people will come, the team will come and play, and people will need to buy and to communicate it. So MTN is there to help everybody.
The MTN store in the Dwala Grand Mall is the 7th in the economic capital and stands as the company's 22nd in Cameroon. This latest MTN store is open to the public daily from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
On to this press release from the Presidential Republic, in the capacity of personal representative of Mrs. Chantal Biya, spouse of the head of state, founding president of the Circle of Friends of Cameroon, Serac, Mrs. Bello Buba Aminatu, Serac regional delegate for the North region, will chair the ceremony for the official retrocession of the Jumte Integrated Health Center, built, rehabilitated and equipped, and the handing over of gifts to rural women by Serac in Police Subdivision, Faro Division, North Region on Saturday, December 19, 2020 in Jumte at 11 a.m., prompt in strict compliance with anti-COVID-19 prescriptions. And this is the program. 8:30 installation of representative of beneficiaries, 9:30 arrival of guests, 10 o'clock arrival of administrative authorities, 10:45 arrival of Serac delegation, 10:50 arrival of the personal representative of Mrs. Chantal Biya, First Lady of Cameroon, founding president of Serac. Welcome handing of a bouquet of flowers, installation, 11 o'clock start of ceremony, and it begins with the singing of the national anthem. The ceremony ends at 1 p.m. The Cameroon Multiculturalism and Its Daily Praxis, a 195-page book authored by Professor Jean-Marie Bodo and prefaced by President Paul Biya, has been launched in Yaoundé. The book presents Cameroon's multiculturalism as unique and that no culture surpasses another. The Director of Civil Cabinet of the Presidential Republic, Samuel Mvondo Ayondo, represented the head of state. We have details with Emanuela Vumnui.
In 195 pages, the author highlights the framework embraced by Cameroon to push forward multiculturalism, which to him can only be well practiced if every Cameroonian understands that no culture surpasses the other.
He highlights the typical issues, problems that we have, which are the origin of multi-cultures that we have in Cameroon, problems that emanated within the transitional period of colonization.
Before the director of the civil cabinet in the presidency of the Republic, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo, eminent professors and literary critics have hailed the impressive work of the sociologists as a gift to Cameroonians.
This book is a gift for us to try to live a new year with spirit of dialogue.
An elated man of God who sees the handiworks of the Most High for his reflections to receive the preface of the head of state.
I am very, very glad with the speeches of each one. It is a high contribution.
Sold at 20,000 francs, the English version is pending.
Senegalese authorities have hailed the publication of a book on one of their best cultural exports, Cheikh Anta Diop, by Cameroonian political scientist Jean-Emmanuel Pondy. This was at the presentation of the book at the Senegalese embassy in Cameroon's capital city, Yaoundé. Charles Ebune was there.
About 195 pages by Jean-Emmanuel Pondy to hail one of Senegal's best cultural exports, Cheikh Anta Diop, in this publication.
This time, the professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondy explores a field which was not really, exploited, namely the perception of Cheikh Anta Diop of the international sphere.
At the Senegalese residence in Yaoundé, before diplomats, especially from the African Diplomatic Group, Jean-Emmanuel Pondy demonstrates Cheikh Anta Diop's construction of an African diplomatic construct.
From the returns which I have received, they are very good, very encouraging, and they are flattered to see that there are so many dimensions in that same personality.
The book x-rays the unique place of Senegalese multi-dimensional character Cheikh Anta Diop in the African Renaissance movement today.
Famous Cameroonian comedians like Valerine Dongo, Moustique Le Charismatique, and artists like Lady Pons, amongst others, will be thrilling fans with wonderful shows this weekend. In the following report, Victor Sigar gives a summary of some cultural rendezvous scheduled for this weekend in Cameroon.
She will enliven Le Château Cabaret in Yaoundé with Pons Attitude this Friday in a Christmas concert before Christmas. Be ready to dance to undiluted Bikuti rhythms like never before.
Est-ce que tu comprends ce que je suis en train de dire?
Comedians like Valérie Dongo, Moustilo Charismatic, will share the stage with musicians like Magasco and Crotal this Sunday in the nation's capitals from 3 p.m. at Camtel Club. The comedy verse music duo promises to produce fireworks. Be ready to crack your ribs. And that's not all. Mr. Leo, Tizipanchako, Kameni Nabila, amongst other young arts, will be giving you a teaser of Christmas celebration this December 23 with their concept, Christmas Music Show. Pay no dime and rub shoulders with your favorite celebs at Start Sikam in Dwala as from 4 p.m. It's a Merry Christmas to you from the 7:30 News crew.
The 6th session as of right of the elections management body ELECAM has been evaluating the maiden regional council elections in terms of the availability of electoral material. Led by the chairman of the electoral board, Eno Abrams Egwe, the management congratulated the staff for the organization. We have details with Ebenezer Akanga.
The first ever regional council elections, which held on December 6, 2020, were successful in terms of material organization by the elections management body, ELECAM. The 6th session as of right of the electoral board of ELECAM was to discuss the organization of the polls. Opening the session, the chairman of the electoral board of ELECAM, Eno Abrams Egwe, congratulated members of the board, the management and staff of ELECAM for working for a smooth organization of the polls. He also congratulated municipal councillors and traditional rulers for their sense of civic responsibility.
On the eve of this Xmas and the New Year, I want to give thanks and glory to the Almighty God for the path we have covered together so far. Now we that this New Year 2021 will bring more harmony, peace, love across one another and our Father now.
The year is ending on a happy note for ELECAM that succeeded to organize 3 major elections: the twin municipal and parliamentary elections of February 9 and the regional council elections of December 6, 2020.
Limbe is anxiously waiting for the start of the African Nations Championship in January 2021. Civilians say it will enable them to showcase their hospitality and rich cultural values. Bodun Sama was in Limbe and came back with this report.
Founded on the solid work of friendship, the beautiful seaside resort town of Limbe, after successfully hosting the 2016 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, is looking forward to doing same come January 2021. The town has been embellished and it is already in shine colors.
Limbe is clean, Limbe is attractive, Limbe is safe to welcome all the guests for this competition.
From one neighborhood to the other, Limbe inhabitants anxiously wait for this competition.
All of us, we are wishing that the organization should be outstanding, and we are seeing all what is going on, and we believe that the Shan is going to go well.
It is an advantage to us because we have to see new faces, players from other countries, and we make acquaintance with others' nationality.
The spirit of friendship will be felt throughout the tournament, as Limbe, like before, will extend a hand of friendship to a different guest throughout the tournament.
And we told you in the headlines, the newly constructed Bachengan Tui Road and the bridge over the Senegal River have been inaugurated today. Public Works Minister Emmanuel Nganu Juminsi presided over that ceremony in the presence of the Minister of Public Contracts, Talba Mala, who were there among other state dignitaries. We shall be coming to this report in subsequent editions of our news because we have some technical difficulties. And this press release from the Presidency of the Republic in the capacity of personal representative of Mrs. Chantal Biya, spouse of the head of state and founding president of the Circle of Friends of Cameroon, Sirac, Mrs. Bello Buba Aminatu, Serac regional delegate for the North region, will chair the ceremony for the official retrocession of the Jumte Integrated Health Center, built, rehabilitated, and equipped, and the handing over of gifts to rural women by Serac in Police Subdivision, Faro Division of the North Region tomorrow, Saturday, December 19, 2020, in Jumte at 11 a.m. prompt. That will be in strict compliance with anti-COVID-19 prescriptions. And the program at 8:30, installation of representative beneficiaries, 9 o'clock, arrival of guests, 11 or 10 o'clock, arrival of administrative authorities, 10:45, arrival of the Serac delegation, and 10:50, arrival of the personal representative of Mrs. Chantal Bia, First Lady of Cameroon, founding president of Serac. The ceremony ends at 1 o'clock. And that ends the 7:30 news on CRTV. Before we leave you, Cameroonians are called upon to be patriotic and guard against COVID-19 at a civic and patriotic holidays launch by the Minister Mununa Futso. A new road linking Bachenga and Tui and a bridge over the Sanaga River are launched in the presence of state dignitaries and happy road users. And Arts and Culture Minister Bidunkwat honors Jali Amadou Amal, winner of the Gonkot Prize. I am Moki Edwin Kinzikan Yaoundé. Thank you for watching.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing.
Sous le patronage du président de la République du Cameroun, promote nouvelle version. Ce sera du 24 avril au 2 mai 2021 au Palais des Congrès de Yaoundé. Promo 2021 en présentiel avec sur le site l'exposition du savoir-faire de dernière pointe en agriculture, BTP, industrie et mines, pavillon pays international et bien d'autres. Promo 2021 en présentiel et sous forme digitale pour le forum de Yaoundé sur l'industrialisation de l'Afrique, clé de l'émergence du continent, avec des exposants et intervenants situés partout en Afrique. Entreprises, PME, institutions, visiteurs, venez saisir les opportunités d'affaires dans des rencontres B2B. Contact info@interprogress.org.
Depuis 1951, j'accueille à Dwala, avec charme et raffinement, des convives du monde entier. Je suis